See, exactly 1 year ago, this is what the electric two-wheeler scooter market looked like. But today, 1 year later, Ather is already the fastest growing EV two-wheeler company in India. But if you look at these products, you'll understand that they don't have a single EV scooter under the price of 1 lakh rupees. Now, in a price-sensitive market like India, you would think that something like this would never work. And Tarun Mehta himself said that Ather will never ever sell a scooter under the price of 1 lakh. Then, how was Ather able to grow so quickly in the Indian market? Not just that, if you look at Ather's new releases and all the features that they come up with, it's almost like other companies can't really create what Ather can do. Even two-wheeler giants like TVS, Bajaj and Hero, who've been in the two-wheeler market for over a decade now, are finding it hard to recreate Ather's magic. So what secret did Ather really crack? And what are the key insights that make the Ather scooters the best in the Indian market today? I'm Varun Guntur and you're watching Insights by TBH, a series where we deep dive into the key and unique insights that make a business successful. Let's dive into it. One of the biggest catalysts that took Ather from here to here in just 1 year was the release of their new model called the Ather Rizta. The Rizta was designed as a family-first scooter which was more affordable and even came with a larger seats. In just 1 year, Ather sold over 1 lakh Rizta scooters, which account for 60% of their total EV sales. But why can't other companies like TVS or Bajaj simply copy this Rizta model? They already have the distribution and the brand recognition, right? Well, it's not that simple. Ather already has a 5 to 6 year head start over all these other companies. Let me explain. You see, Tarun and Swapnil actually started Ather way back in 2013 after they graduated from IIT Madras. Then they spent over 5 years in R&D building every part of the EV scooter from scratch. Unlike an IC engine two-wheeler where everything is mechanically driven, a battery or an electrically driven scooter doesn't need the same approach. While you can think of an ICE scooter as a motorized cycle, the EV scooters are actually more closer to a computer or a mobile phone than to a cycle. Everything from the braking to the powertrain to the acceleration is all controlled by a central computer. So the traditional way of applying brakes or acceleration doesn't really work in an EV scooter. So Ather had to build everything from scratch. Just like how our mobile phones run an operating system like Android or iOS or Windows, Ather even built their own custom operating system called the Ather Stack. Other players like TVS, Hero and Bajaj rely on other vendors like Bosch, Joynex and Sibros for their operating system. In fact, even Ola's MoveOS, which is their OS for their electric two-wheelers, is just a very buggy wrapper on top of the Android open source project. And this is what gives Ather the ability to add new features like auto hold, traction control and even have seamless connectivity with their Halo helmets. This actually enables Ather to even make their servicing better. All they have to do is just connect their Ather to a computer at a service center and they can automatically detect everything they need to be repaired, everything that needs to be calibrated and even the wear and tear, which is exactly why Ather can actually complete their servicing and give back the vehicle to you within a single day most of the time. Every other company is treating an electric two-wheeler almost like a regular ICE two-wheeler, but with a battery pack and a motor instead of an engine. But Ather is looking at this entire stack completely differently. Now, just having a complete ownership of the stack doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a successful business. Another very important metric for successful business is scale or the number of SKUs, especially for companies like Ather, because different people have different use cases. Now, there could be a person who's going to college and all he is looking at is style and performance, but somebody else might be looking at it for their family, where they can comfortably and safely take their entire family and also use it to buy groceries and other small daily use cases. This brings us to the second insight. Now that Ather has their underlying technology, the battery, motor, powertrain, braking and all of this completely mastered, they can now move forward into functionality and look at what the users actually require. Larger SKUs allow companies to capture a very large share of the market. To determine the number of SKUs, a company has to look at two major factors: function and pricing. Function is basically the use case of the user. A college student's use case of a two-wheeler would be very different from a person who's married and has children. For example, if you look at the Ather Rizta launch video, you'll see that the Ather team looked at every single function for the use case of a family scooter. Today, Ather has over 60 SKUs across their 450S, 450X, 450 Apex and the Rizta lineup of scooters. They have offerings from low price to high price in each of these models, and they also have a wide variety of color variants in each of these models. Ather also announced their new EL01 platform and have claimed that newer models on this platform will have a much higher range, faster charging and even lower maintenance than their current models. For any automobile company, before releasing any new SKUs, they first need a very high category penetration. For example, if they have a product aimed at college students, they They first need to get as many college students as possible before even releasing another product. So the best way to actually do this is by having different prices for the same product. If you go to an Ather showroom to buy a 450X for example, they will show you at least 5 different variants. The exact same model will start from around 1.25 lakhs and go all the way up to 1.9 lakhs. This kind of pricing strategy achieves two things for Ather. If say for example somebody cannot afford a scooter worth rupees 1.95 lakhs and their maximum budget is around 1.5, they will get these people to buy their product as well, resulting in a higher market penetration. The other thing that this achieves is something called upselling. This upselling happens when a customer walks into an Ather showroom with say for example a budget of 1.25 lakhs in their mind. When they see a small additional features and they possibly can afford 20,000 more for the same scooter, they will instead of purchasing 1.25 lakhs end up spending 1.5 lakhs. Sometimes these features and upgrades are placed in such a way that it's almost tempting for you to make that upgrade. This almost guarantees a higher average order value or AOV for every single customer that walks into a showroom. But the bigger challenge for any automotive company is how do you bring these people into your showroom in the first place? The primary answer to that question for most other companies is probably marketing. But Ather is doing something very, very different. This brings us to the third insight. See, any company in this world can simply run ads on social media or newspaper ads and create billboards and all of these things to have people come into their showroom. They can probably call this marketing. They can even calculate the return on these ad spends and call it performance marketing or whatever. But the end goal or outcome of any marketing strategy in this world is to achieve virality. If you run ads, for example, you expect that ad or that creative to go viral. You want it to resonate with as many people as possible and you want these people to share it with their friends and family. That is the one true goal because that reduces your cost of acquiring customers to almost zero. Which is why when you see the ads from big companies like Red Bull or Nike or even Coca-Cola, you see that all these ads have nothing to do with the main product itself. But the entire marketing strategy is designed around going viral. And the only true way for you to achieve this virality is through word of mouth. Somehow you want every single person in the country talking about your ad or your product or your brand. For example, when the Cred ads went viral, you could see that everybody in the country was talking about Rahul Dravid getting angry or Ravi Shastri being played like a party animal. But Ather on the other hand was able to achieve virality through word of mouth, purely by product innovation. Their product itself was so good that people couldn't resist talking about it with their friends and family. They introduced some amazing features like going reverse, dashboard navigation, hill hold, traction control, infinite cruise, and nobody had ever seen something like this in any scooter before that. So anybody who has ever bought an Ather couldn't stop talking about how good the scooter is. And once you've driven an Ather, you don't really like any other scooter after that. Not even other EVs. While every other EV company was focusing on discounts and flashy ads, Ather focused purely on making their products the best in the market for over 10 years, from 2013 to 2023, without giving any importance to advertising. While every one of their competitors was spending hundreds of crores in marketing spends, Ather only spent a fraction of that money on marketing. So these are the three key insights that made Ather one of the biggest EV giants in India. With all their upcoming innovation like the EL01 platform, their brand new cruise control technology, and even integrating an AI voice assistant on their Ather scooters, it looks like Ather will be a very big player in the Indian two-wheeler market. If you take a look at the market share of EV two-wheelers in India, it's just at 6.6% of all two-wheelers sold in the country. But it's expanding very, very fast and is expected to reach around 13% by next year. Now, if Ather can continue to innovate their products and maintain their market position, it's very likely that Ather will be the biggest player in the electric two-wheeler market in India. Ather has already started exporting their two-wheelers to Nepal and Sri Lanka and are even exporting to other Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. They're even planning on expanding to Latin America and a few European countries. Now, I personally own two Ather 450Xs, so I may have a bit of a bias towards them, but I'm definitely rooting for them to win big. But that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit the like button and smash the subscribe button for more such content. Until next time, bye bye.